Who is it?
It's your humble servant, Sir Integra. Give me my orders, Master.
What did you do to that SWAT team?
I killed them. I slaughtered them like cattle.
Death Love.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Danny here. Today I'm talking to you about Hellsing. So Hellsing was written and drawn by Kota Hirano. This was published over in Young King Hours magazine. This is a monthly one. We've seen stuff like Spirit Circle, of course his other series Drifters, Trigun. This started in April of 97, ended September of 2008 with a total of 92 chapters. So let's get right into it, man. Hellsing, I think everybody knows Hellsing, right? I knew about it for a long time. This is actually the second time I'm reading this series. I dropped it about almost 2/3 of the way in the first time I read it many years ago. And the main reason I dropped it was because there was a certain point where there was just so much happening and I kept thinking, I don't even understand what's going on right now. I got lost. I guess what happened is I just wasn't as focused as reading it as I thought I was. Coming into this reread was, okay, I'm just going to focus on this manga. I'm not going to read anything else. Let me see what's really going on with this, because I did like Drifters, right? We talked about it a few years ago. I have to come back to this one. This is his GOAT. And also there was the announcement of the live action movie. I think it was last year. And that caught more interest for me. It's like, okay, maybe, yeah, it's time to dive in and check this out. If I were to describe this manga, I would say there's no story, because it's not really a story. It's more of a tale, or it's a part of a story that we get to peek at involving our main characters. Of course, the main one being Alucard, who is a vampire that's very old and very powerful. And he works at an organization called Hellsing, which is currently being run by Integra, who is the daughter of the person that sealed Alucard in the basement. And the only reason he woke up is because Integra needed help. As her father passed away, she was next in line to take over this organization, but her uncle was not having it because she was only a child, about like 8 or 10 years old at the time. She had nobody to turn to. She remembered her father saying that if you ever need help, if you're in trouble, go down to the basement, you'll find what you're looking for. And she found a dried up corpse that was sealed, and that was Alucard. It wasn't until she had her blood spilled onto him that he woke up, killed everybody there, and became a loyal servant to her. And then the series continues on 10 years after that, where we see this organization, and Hellsing is an organization where they specialize in killing vampires. And that is pretty much the premise. There's more cases that are coming about recently with vampires, and all of it is looking suspicious. And so Integra wants them to look into it and see exactly what's going on. And that's where they find out there's an organization called the Millennium, which is very key to the time, as it is the year 2000, I believe. After more digging and research, we find out, hey, this Millennium organization that's behind some of these recent events, turns out they are Nazis. So the Nazis are back, and now Integra is trying to figure out what's going on. Why are they back? What's their goal? How do we stop this? And that's pretty much the whole series, just this battle between Hellsing, which is a subsidiary of the Catholic Church, I guess, over in England, and then Nazis that now have vampires. And I have to say, after finally going through this manga and seeing everything after the point I stopped, it's good, I think, but it's good for different reasons than I enjoy. The reason I say there's like really no story is because things just kind of happen. It's more about bits and pieces of the lore of this world, of characters' backstories, and what connects everybody together into this one final blazing moment of the series. There's certain moments with the writing that I wasn't a big fan of, even at the end, there were still a good amount of questions left unanswered. And the way it ended with the final chapter was just unsatisfying. It all felt rushed in the final two because we were at the climax, and it's like, okay, how do we, like, what are we doing at this moment? I still had those questions coming in a little bit, is, okay, but what's the real purpose of what's going on? I don't think it's a bad thing to think about that when it comes to Nazis attacking London with vampires. There is an actual moment where the main antagonist, the Major, mentions it. They ask him, like, why did you attack us? What are you doing? And he says, because we just felt like it. We don't care about anything. We just want to do. And honestly, that could have just been it. I would have been okay with that, because this is just a chapter of the organization known as Hellsing that they had to deal with. We get the real answer at the very end. It made sense to a point, but it was okay. I think it would have been better if it was just left up in the air, because it just all happened so fast. The final moment, it was all right. I think the main purpose of this story was to be stylistic, and that's exactly what's going on here, because the best part about this series is the art. It's fantastic. The way Hirano just draws these characters, these panels, the fights, how gory and vicious it is, how unsettling some of the facial expressions are, because we're in this dark, twisted moment in history in this world. All of that is fantastic. And I think that's the whole point of this manga. It's to look like this. And some of the vague writing or even just descriptions of what's happening at the time are very key into the presentation of this series. There's actually a few moments when I was reading and there's just the narrator boxes explaining what we're seeing on the page. And I just kept thinking, wow, this is just like Bloodborne. It's written how it looks. It was at that moment I knew, okay, yeah, let's not really get critical with the writing a whole lot, because that's not what Hirano wants you to take away from this. It's everything else that he's doing that is high quality. At the end of the day, when I read the last chapter, I just felt, man, if there was an actual story with this would be so much better. I still think it's good, and I would recommend it for people. I might even recommend Hellsing Ultimate, which is the anime, because I hear that is a great adaptation of the series. And we've seen cases like with, Demon Slayer, where the anime just blows up and arguably looks a lot better than what it was doing in the manga. Could be a similar case here. So I would say, yeah, go check it out and watch it. But definitely just come in here for the manga just to look at these panels, because my God. So again, yeah, I definitely recommend it. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of wish this kept going. I did like the slow build-up we got with Alucard. Slowly removing his limiters and just seeing more of his out-of-this-world powers that you just wouldn't expect a vampire to have. And just the huge mystery behind that makes you want to keep reading to find out more. I kind of would have wanted more of that, or just him dealing with certain situations, because that's what I kind of liked in the beginning. There was moments where, well, we need to send Alucard and the new vampire he made, Ceres, over here, but there's a limit, like vampires can't cross rivers and all that kind of stuff. How are we going to get there? And Alucard says, oh, yeah, that's not a problem. Like, I know there's always a way around it, especially now in modern time, there's ways around it. And just seeing that kind of stuff was really fun. And I thought that was a nice charm in the beginning before things just got crazy and intense. But I am glad I finally came around and finished it this time. I felt like I didn't do it justice the first time I read it. And I thought, no, I should be fair with this kind of manga that's so iconic. And with that, that's all I got to say today, guys. Thanks for listening. What are your thoughts on Hellsing? Am I wrong on certain points? I would love to hear some feedback. And you can send those over to unversepodcast@gmail.com, as well as any other questions or comments, and we'll sure to bring those up on future episodes. And then you can follow us at Unverse Podcast anywhere you go, and we'll let you know when those episodes drop. So thank you guys, and I will catch you next time.
Thought you would see the enemy, we're mortal enemies every 100 years. Man, y'all know what this is. I'ma haunt you and your kids' kids. Like hands on the clock, I'm never gonna stop. Every 100 years, coming back with a vengeance. Never gonna end this. Every 100 years. Thought you would see the enemy, we mortal enemies. Every 100 years, man, y'all know what this is. I'ma haunt you and your kids. Like hands on the clock, I'm never gonna stop. Every 100 years, coming back with a vengeance. Never gonna end this. Every 100 years, 3,650 days. I've been living in the days. Now it's time to rise from the grave, make them all pay. I ain't coming here to play okay like we always do about this time. I return from the essence to get mine. Prince of darkness, heartless, ready to start this. Putting fear on the incline. And I'm in a war with the Belmonts. 21, but he fell, doc. Left them all shell-shocked. Then 5 years later, I return, bring it to your door like a bellhop. Forward is Dracula, and I'm back with the vengeance coming after ya. Must have thought that I was slacking, huh? When I get it, I got it. It isn't a problem to massacre. Y'all never should have got me started, cause it's not gonna stop regardless. They took my wife, split my family, and no chance you will not be targets. Thought my castle had fallen? Nah, man.